The Harbinger, one of the most powerful entities in the embodiment of death itself inside Pressure. If you're a casual player, the chances are you've never even seen it. But let me assure you, if you do, it will leave no survivors, prepping anyone foolish enough to try and escape death by hiding in a locker into an over 3-minute long minigame of near impossible difficulty that only prolongs the inevitable. So, naturally, I was gonna beat it. What? Oh my gosh. Alright, let's start with the basics. How do you even encounter Harbinger in the first place? Well, ever since the Hunted update came to Pressure, you can only encounter him in the Endless Expedition after activating a hidden shrine at the start. You'd think, well, if you activated a shrine, clearly showing you want to meet Harbinger, there'd be a pretty good chance you'd see him, right? No. On average, it took me around 350 to 450 doors to encounter this thing once. About 90 minutes straight of opening doors just to get one chance at the minigame. This is a massive part of the difficulty of beating Harbinger, with just how much time it consumes. But let me tell you, when it does spawn, you will know. Immediately, any lights in the room will turn blood red, lockers and drawers will rapidly begin banging open and closed, and a calm, almost eerie music will begin playing, letting you know that this is it. There is no running, only giving you time to reflect on your choices as death only approaches closer. But let's say hypothetically you do try and hide from the inevitable. What even is this minigame? Well, imagine Pandemonium's minigame, but on steroids and completely unfair. Pandemonium attacks the locker about every 2 seconds. Harbinger, half that, every 1 second. And you remember that staying in the middle part with Pandemonium? Well, the middle can now be anywhere on your screen, changing positions with each attack of the locker. While your stamina does drain slower, it also replenishes slower, so you're gonna need every last bit of stamina to be able to survive the later phases of this monstrosity. Wait, phases? What do you mean by phases, you ask? Yeah, what I've described is only the first out of 7 phases that the minigame takes you through, each getting progressively harder and more unfair. So let's start off with phase 2. About 10 seconds in, a red circle will spawn and begin moving around with each attack of the locker. We'll call this the death zone. Putting your mouse in this death zone will drain your stamina incredibly fast. Even a short graze of it could mean death. Oh, and if the white circle is ever in the death zone, tough luck, you're gonna lose stamina. Dude, what was that? What was that? Phase 3. You thought that last mechanic was unfair? Well, guess what? 30 seconds in, the circle starts to randomly turn invisible for 5 seconds at a time. If you aren't locked in and have a full stamina bar when it starts going invisible, you are dead. If you don't immediately get your mouse over the white circle as soon as possible, you're dead. White circle is in the death zone? Guess what? You're dead. And yeah, like every other phase, this continues for the entire minigame. I'm sure you're starting to understand why I said this is unfair. Phase 4. 50 seconds in, the white circle will shrink to about half its regular size. With how slippery the mouse movement is and the passive shaking of the cursor, it can be really hard to get your mouse in this now tiny zone long enough to reach in any worthwhile amount of stamina. This phase acts as the cutoff point between a good player and a player that has truly mastered this minigame. Phase 5. At the 1 minute and 30 second mark, a second death zone will spawn and begin moving around with the other. The death zones also slightly increase in speed, and if you've made it this far, you're about halfway done with the minigame at this point, so congratulations, but it only gets harder from here. Phase 6. 2 minutes and 15 seconds in, a third death zone will spawn. Not only that, but once again they increase in speed. They now zoom across your screen, instantly blocking any hopes you had of getting to the white circle and giving you very little time to react. With the chance of the white circle being in the death zone only increasing, it can be very hard to find time to regen stamina. And when you do, you need to get to that white circle as fast as possible or else you are dead. Oh, I got so unlucky. Phase 7. At 2 minutes and 40 seconds, the final phase will begin. Your stamina bar will slowly turn invisible until it is just you, some circles, and your will to live. All you gotta do is survive this for 30 seconds and you're home free. Now that we know what this minigame is and how it works, how was I doing with it? Not good. How was I not in the circle there, man? Dude, why? 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 Let me just play the game! I was consistently failing, hardly ever making it past phase 4. It wasn't that I hadn't practiced, I had practiced for hours. I just sucked. So I laid back in my chair and gave up. At least I gave up on fighting the actual Harbinger for now. The next few days I would dedicate to purely practicing. I was done sucking. Hours straight every day I would spend in a practice place, never once thinking about anything else except for how to improve. After all, I had a date with death itself, and I was not gonna come unprepared. Eventually, I had beaten the minigame 4 times in the practice place.
Let's go!
And even dueled against and beat one of the victors of Harbinger. So, I booted up Pressure and set out to do the impossible.
Good luck out there.
Oh, I got so unlucky. Wow, let's freaking go, man. I knew as soon as I died that something was different. The way I moved my mouse, the decisions I made within the minigame, how quick I got to the white circle, it was all just perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Yo, I got a phase 6, almost 7 on my own attempt. Nice. Good job, catnip.
And with that little bit of motivation to keep going, I knew it was over. It was only a matter of time. The nerves I get when Harbinger spawns mean nothing now. I had practiced too much to fail. So, one final time, I stared death itself in the face. my gosh! Oh, it's done. It's done. It's done. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm shaking so hard. Oh my gosh, it's finally done. I could stop playing endless. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh. Hours upon hours upon hours of attempts at this. I knew I knew I would get it this run. I have practiced too much. That no amount of nerves when he spawns, nothing could stop me from playing my absolute best.